Hey there and welcome back to my channel. Tim here from Ung Studio, and today we're going to be designing and making another architecture-inspired wood light. Now you might be wondering, Tim, why are we designing and making so many architecture-inspired projects? Well, as an architect, I'm always inspired by the things that I see being designed by other architects around the world. One of my favorite architects is a man named Tadao Ando, who is a Japanese-born self-taught architect. He didn't go to architecture school and he learned a trade on his own. So, as an architect that I really admire, one of the projects that came across my blog feed recently on Arc Daily is called the He Art Museum. It's a recently completed project designed by Tadao Ando, and the way that this project was designed is that it essentially is kind of like a 3-layered wedding cake that's flipped upside down. What I mean by that is the bottom circular floor of that building starts small, and as the building grows in height, it actually grows outward in layers, and it gets larger with each of those layers. So taking that idea, as well as the fenestration on the outside, which is comprised of a bunch of vertical slats that are installed along the entire perimeter of the building at a regular spaced interval, I'm going to be taking those two design elements and applying it to this project today. So for this round light project, I'll show you what the design and the 3D model looks like. But before we get there, please remember to support this channel by liking this video and subscribing for more like it. And if you haven't seen any of my previous wood light projects, I highly recommend you check those ones out as well. Now let's jump into the 3D model of this project. Here's a 3D model of the 3-layered round light that I'm planning to make out of some mahogany plywood. You can see as I revolve around this 3D model how it resembles the He Art Museum designed by the architect Tadao Ando that I was talking about earlier. As I revolve down to this perspective here, you can start to see how it was inspired by the first photograph on the Arc Daily's blog page of the He Art Museum. That particular photograph is what inspired me for this particular project. Now, as I revolve to the top of this 3D model, you'll see how it's a little bit different from the facade of the He Art Museum because I decided to turn the vertical panels at an angle. The reason for this is that I wanted to try and block some of the direct views that you would have of the light bulb behind it. Not all of the views of the light bulb will be blocked, but a majority of it will be, and the light that comes out of that light bulb will be reflected off of the surfaces of all of these vertical panels here. When it reflects the light, it'll turn it into a warmer tone because of the color of the mahogany plywood. Now, the way that this project is going to come together is that all of the wood panels that you're seeing will be finger jointed on the exterior, which you're seeing here highlighted in yellow in this 3D model. The wood panel is this here, and the circular frame is here. It's the same type of construction that I've used for previous wood lights that I've shared here on my channel. You should check those ones out as well if you haven't already. Now on the inside is where it gets a little bit different. Here for the 3 different layers, you'll see that the wood panel that goes from this bottom layer to this top layer here is shaped a little bit differently. There's a finger joint down here that'll get finger jointed onto this circular frame, but at the very top, there's actually a different type of joint. It's open-ended on one end, and the circular frame is similar, where it's open on one end as well. The way that I'm going to be constructing this is I'm going to take this panel, insert it through that frame here at an angle, and then I'm going to be pushing the top in first so that it locks into place. And once it's locked into place, I'll come down to the bottom here and push that finger joint so that it slots and locks in. That'll probably be a good friction fit because of the tolerances that I've built into this model for a 1/8 inch piece of plywood. Now that we've gone over the 3D model here, let's talk about the way that all of the frames are shaped, because that's the biggest difference between this project and the previous wood lights that I've designed on my channel. The way that the different frames are designed is that the top frame here only has exterior finger joints, which are similar to all of my previous wood light projects. As we go lower in this model, you'll see that there's the exterior joint and the interior joint here. And when we get to the very bottom, that's where the light bulb will be installed. The very base of this is about 4 inches wide, and at the very top it's about 8 inches wide. The reason why I went with 3 inches at the bottom, even though I had some issues in the past trying to fit my hand in to install the light bulb here, is because of the height of that base. The height of this base is about 4 inches tall at its highest point. So with that, I could fit my hand in to install the light fixture without any problems. Now let's go into Adobe Illustrator, where I'll show you how I've assembled all of the pieces efficiently on 2 full-size pieces of plywood. Here in Adobe Illustrator, you'll see that I was able to fit all of the pieces for this project on 2 full-size sheets of 1/8 inch mahogany plywood that'll fit inside of my Glowforge Laser Cutter. In total, I have 4 different circular frames, which you can see here. I also have 50 pieces of this smaller panel that'll extend on the smaller frames and get finger jointed on the outside, and then it'll get joined at the tops like I was showing you in the 3D model. The rest of them are 36 panels that have the typical finger joints from my previous projects that get installed at these angles on the exterior of the larger frame. So that's my design and 3D model of the 3-layered round light that I'm going to be making out of an 1/8 inch mahogany plywood. Again, this project is inspired by the He Art Museum, designed by the architect Tadao Ando. I'm really excited about getting this project started and putting it together. So let's jump into the next phase of this project, which is setting up my Glowforge laser cutter, laser cutting all of the pieces, assembling them, and make sure you stick around to the end of this video where I'll show you how the project came out. So that's how I designed and made this 3-tiered round light out of mahogany plywood. This project was inspired by the He Art Museum, designed by the architect Tadao Ando. If you haven't heard of Tadao Ando, I highly recommend you check out some of his work. They're really inspirational and his design and aesthetics are really beautiful. In terms of this project, one of the things that I didn't expect is the way that all of these panels get joined into all of the circular frames. What I mean by that is, I have the typical finger joints installed at an angle on every frame, just like all of my previous projects, but the difference between this and all of the other ones is that the interior side of the frames actually have an open joint. So when I install these panels, you could see in the time lapse that I had to go in at an angle with each of the panels, pop the tops into place, and then push all of the finger joints and snap them into place so that they would lock in. Overall, this project took about 5 hours from the beginning to the end, and that includes the amount of time that it took to design a project, 3D model it, laser cut all of the pieces, and assemble it to what you're seeing here. I really enjoyed making this project and I love the way that it came out. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this project and how the design came out. And if you could think of any other buildings that you can envision as a table lamp or a pendant light, feel free to let me know in the comment section below so that I could check it out and perhaps use it as an inspiration for a future project. Now with that, please remember to support this channel by liking this video and subscribing for more. I'll see you guys next time.